Hey guys and gals. I've got some great stories for you today. Without further ado, let's jump right in. So, about 2 months ago, my neighbor moved out. Now we weren't hangout level friends, but we were cordial with each other. We had an agreement that if the other wasn't home when a package came, we'd go grab it and just give it to each other when they got home, as my neighborhood is littered with porch pirates. So, a month ago, new neighbor moves in. He has a package arrive. He's not home. I grabbed the package, figuring I'd try and make the same arrangement with him. An hour later or so, he pulls in his driveway, and I come out to meet him with his package. I hand him the package, and I give him the rundown about package thieves in the area. He loses his crap and tells me that I don't need your effing help, mind your own business. Leave me the frick alone, and storms off into his house. Okay. Cool. Fast forward to yesterday. I'm outside. Neighbor isn't home. Amazon guy comes and drops off a package on dude's doorstep. Malicious compliance. Not 5 minutes after the Amazon guy leaves, here comes a porch pirate, grabs the package, and just starts casually walking back to the sidewalk. Just as the thief makes the sidewalk, the douche pulls into his driveway. Thief takes off running. He gets out of his car and starts screaming at me. I told him, "Nah dude, I believe you told me you didn't need my help and to mind my own business, so that's what I did." Guy gets all pissed and runs into his house. You could hear him breaking crap. While apprenticing as a welder/industrial mechanic, I've fallen for a few tricks but not many. This one journeyman would always send me for the dumbest crap, but I'd walk around the shop anyway because it was a good way to take a break. One time though, he sent me for a sky hook no matter the cost, he said. I believed him. Everyone laughed and laughed. Until I found a sky hook. It was about $2,000 deposit for the equipment to be delivered and came with an operator, and if you kept him longer then the price would go up or whatever. Sure thing, bring it in. I went back to the journeyman and told him the skyhook was outside. He went out and sure as poop, there was a massive F-off crane with the word skyhook on the side. He never messed with me after that. A long time I was working at a well-respected and expensive consulting business who were renting an office. They'd spent good money installing aircon and making the reception area pretty decent and other work like interior walls, shelving, high-quality decor etc. When the tenant company wanted to move out, the contract said they had to restore the building back as it was. They asked the landlord to allow them to walk away and not return the building back to the more basic shell it had been, which would have meant leaving the aircon in. Not having to remove the fancy reception area. Remove walls, partitions, shelving, etc. This would have been a win-win for both parties. For some reason the landlord said no, and despite attempts to persuade them, they were adamant. The tenant said okay, and ripped everything out including tens of thousands of aircon, leaving the landlord with an empty shell again, which proved harder to rent out and attracted lower rent. The building was empty for quite a while. About 4 years later I worked there when another company had leased it. The building was horribly hot in summer because of the lack of aircon, and the reception looked cheap and nasty, nowhere near as nice as it had been. The offices were carpeted but obviously the cheapest stuff was fitted. I told my new employer that the building had been much nicer and with aircon, and they were stunned that the stupid landlord had wasted the opportunity. I used to work for a fairly well-known chain of buffalo wing eateries. You know, the ones with the 27 huge screens and screaming fans of every sport? We had a family dining area and this particular Saturday night. In walks Karen with her slew of kids and adults all wanting to celebrate a birthday. Table for 20? No problem. Of course, Karen isn't paying for everyone, so they all line up to the cashier booth to order, and birthday boy is first. He appears to be around 10 to 12 years old, and he peers over the counter at me and says he wants the 24 blazin' wings. If you know our store, you know our sauces. Blazin' was the spiciest sauce we had, so spicy that you needed gloves if you were going to have prolonged contact. I told the kid that those wings were very very hot, and maybe he'd like to try our sweet barbecue or even our hot sauce. The kid throws a fit. My manager is behind me and Karen is berating me for not giving her precious birthday boy what he wanted. My manager whispers for me to just give him what he wants, so I put in his order and apologize to Karen. Then I place everyone else's orders. By the time the last of the 20 were ordering, the first was getting their food. Who do you think comes to the counter with a tray of 24 blazin' wings? Karen, of course. She is irate and screaming over the din of cheering spectators. How dare I give her poor precious child something so spicy that it burns his mouth. She wants a refund not just for his wings, but for their whole family's meal. She's threatening lawyers and medical bills, and sure enough she had to ask the age-old Karen adage. Let me speak to your manager. So I go tell him what's happened, and I do feel bad because I have a soft spot for kids, even the evil ones. He comes out and tells Karen that he was present when I told her and the kid they were too hot, and he heard her insist that they be given to him. He pointed to the cameras and mentioned the microphones and informed her she would not be getting any money back, and the kid would not be getting a replacement. If he wanted a different flavor, she could buy it, or he could eat what he ordered. She gave us a terrible review, but that kid coming back with his mommy, crying after eating what I told them both was too hot, was something special to me, and I still remember it to this day. University has its share of professors that want to help, as well as those that want to make it hard as possible to simply pass the course. The lecturer I had was of the latter. In January, she talked mostly of her interests without teaching us. It was a research class. When asked about the course lessons, we got a snarky "don't worry about the materials. Everything you need to know," I'll say. At first I was glad she didn't stick to the given schedule, but couple weeks and I had other thoughts. Fast forward to when online classes was a definite thing. I started recording the online lessons to review over the materials. Time and time again she gave empty criticisms of our proposals and questionnaires. On one beautiful day, the exchange between her and a student went like this: Student: Teacher, what should we do about the research design diagram? Teacher: as I kept saying to you all, I will tell you what needs to be done. What I don't specifically point out or say is not of importance. In other words, I'm telling you all what I'm going to use to mark your papers. Student: dejected: okay, I understand. After class, I texted my friend and repeated our teacher's words and asked if she said anything about sources. My friend said no. Thus, my plot for malicious compliance began. Now, I know from my university research older than 10 years and textbooks were not supposed to be used, but only few lecturers adhered to that. While gathering articles, I added articles older than 10 years and 2 textbooks. Once the research was finished, I took the lesson and got the audio of her strictly explaining that what she doesn't say is of no importance. When the due date came, I happily submitted it to her and waited for her to contact me. She sent me a message a few days later, and the glorious conversation was as follows: Teacher, I noticed that you have a couple of articles before 2010 and 2 textbooks as sources. Me: yes ma'am. I do. Teacher: you know this is going to hurt your grade badly, right? Me: I honestly believe my grade will be just fine. Teacher: and why are you so confident in that? I then took the audio from the lesson and sent it to her. Teacher: why did you send me that? Me: I just wanted you to know that you didn't say we couldn't use them. And, like how you said, if you don't mention it, it's of no importance in terms of grading. She didn't reply after that, and I got my grade back about 4 days after. I don't know what makes me happier, getting back at her or the B+ for my final grade. What seems like a lifetime ago, when I was 18, I coached indoor soccer at the local YMCA. It was a co-ed league and the ages were 6 to 8 if memory serves me well. My team comprised of varying degrees of skill and interest. One of the rules was that there was free substitution in a game. That just means that you can pull kids in and out of the game when there is action going on. I also tried to have the kids play equal amounts of time. We were maybe halfway through our season, and by this time I had gotten to know the kids I coached pretty well. Most of the kids I would leave in for about 3 minutes. One boy and one girl I would leave on a little more because they were pretty good. Then there was Sam. I would only leave him in for at the most 90 seconds, usually closer to 75 seconds. Despite this, over the course of a game, he played almost as much as everyone else. The difference was negligible. We are still in the first half and I pull him out like normal. Then I hear some lady scream, "Let my boy play. Stop taking him out." I knew the rules and I am talking to the sports director. I guess that is her equivalent to talking to the manager. I tried to ignore her and keep coaching, but her yelling never ceases. Other parents are looking but not saying anything yet. This has gone on for about 5 minutes and I can take it no more. This shrill entitled mom has broken me. "Fine, I'll leave him in longer," I yell. Leave him in I did. Almost as if on cue at just past 90. Second, Sam loses interest in the game and starts chasing an imaginary tail. At 100 seconds he continues chasing his tail and barks. At about 2 minutes he pulls his shirt over his head and plays his belly like drums. Then I hear, "Take him out. Take him out." I looked down the line and made eye contact with her and smiled. And I took him out. It was a short but sweet encounter. The kid just had the attention span of a goldfish. What did you think? What would you have done differently? Share your opinions in the comments. And if you enjoyed the stories, slap that like and subscribe button for more of them, and don't forget to support the original writers with an upvote. Links are in the description. Peace out, and catch you tomorrow.